There's something you need to add to your toolbox for melodic writing, and I'm not sure why nobody's mentioning this when talking about the magic formula to create a melody. Well, this something you need is orchestration. And when I'm talking about orchestration, I'm not talking about orchestral writing. I'm talking about the study of instruments, including electronic instruments and their various sonic qualities. Do you know that in many world music, some melodies are perfectly attached to certain instruments? But wait, I have a question. Have you ever heard the song My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion played on the flute? It's great, right? That's because I'm a bad player, but also the fact that these instruments play an octave higher than the original melody, so the register just becomes shrill and less more harmonically interesting, as opposed to the voice, which the melody was composed for, where it has a register full of rich harmonies and intensity. Well, that proves my point. A good melody is a melody written in the right register for an instrument, a register that highlights its particularities. But wait, I love this melody so much I want to play it again on the guitar. Well, it's too bad, it's just not quite the same effect, because again, this register is not that intense on the guitar than it is on the voice. Also, I believe that a good melody is a melody that's easy to perform on the instrument that it was written for. To perform an interval of 11th is much easier on the violin than it is on the voice. Well, it wasn't so bad. It just shows that how writing a melody for different instruments can create such a different result. Another very determinant factor is the notes one instrument can cover. Some melodies can simply not be played by another instrument unless you transpose it, which can affect the nature of the melody, which is what happened with the flute. Now here's a melody written by the British composer Ralph Vaughan Williams, played in two different registers on the guitar again, because I'm a guitarist. We can hear the higher one much more like a melody, and the lower one is a bit less exciting, right? And that's because we kind of stray away from the spoken voice register, which is around middle C. That's why many lower instruments like the bassoon, the tuba, the double bass have been traditionally more used as an accompaniment. Although some composers use extreme register from these instruments to create a great tension and a strong character, like the bassoon at the beginning of The Rite of Spring by Stravinsky. So basically, how does the instrument sound, what are their best register, the qualities and the weaknesses in the different regions of the spectrum? I believe knowing this will help you add more individuality to your melodies, and therefore can be a very useful tool alongside the many things you need to write a good melody that I'm covering in this video series. Now, I'm not sure why melodic writing is often taught without even thinking of the instruments, as if the melody was just an abstract concept that once it's theoretically well composed, then it would magically work for any instruments. Well, I found that it's not quite the case. Now, here are my favorite books to learn about orchestration and to learn about what to pay attention for when looking for sound qualities for the instruments. The first one is The Study of Orchestration by Samuel Adler, and essential for anyone who wants to write for orchestral instruments. Also, I would suggest The Mixing Engineer's Handbook from Bob Owsinski. You wouldn't believe how learning about mixing and the frequency spectrum as a composer can help you understand how to compose a good melody. It's basically teaching you the various qualities and weaknesses of the different instruments, what to look for in the music and how to highlight these qualities. If you're including all of this into your knowledge, then you'll have the job of the mixing down ahead, and your melodies and their accompaniment will sound good naturally. So have you ever considered orchestration as a tool to learn how to write good melodies? It's an interesting way to look at it, right? And now that we've covered this chapter on my tips on how to write a good melody, follow this link for the next chapter about phrasing.